Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new independent Era 3 premium heavy tank, the K1. Now if you did like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the K1. This is the tank that is at level 100 of the season pass. So if you pay 2,000 gold, you will get this tank for free. And it is basically free because if you invest the 2k gold, you always get the 2k gold back for completing the season, plus a little bit more because obviously you get stuff like chests which will give you gold, as well as just getting a little bit over that anyway for completing the season pass. And for 2k gold, it's a pretty decent heavy tank. It's actually, I looked at the statistics of this tank and thought, this tank looks terrible. Like, it looks like it's not going to be a very fun tank, right? Because it's not got the best alpha damage for a heavy tank at Era 3, although obviously calling them heavy tanks, medium tanks, TDs is a misnomer really because they're all MBTs, but you get the point. It's got fairly low alpha, it's got pretty damn low pen, but it's got pretty good DPM, and it's basically like an M1. So I thought, well, the armor's not going to work that well, but actually, you know, with the new mechanics changes, the armor on this tank is fantastic. And I thought, well, you know, it's good having DPM, but if I can't pen things, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Well, actually, it seems to do quite well. In my experience of playing it so far, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. The armor holds up really well. The gun handling is utterly phenomenal. And the penetration is a bit of a letdown. I will say that. The penetration is a little bit of a letdown. The mobility is also a little bit sluggish as well. But it is also the first tank in Cold War as well to have the hydro-pneumatic suspension. So you do get like an extra 10 degrees of gun depression by using the hydro-pneumatic suspension, which can be pretty handy in certain situations for this tank on a ridgeline and stuff like that. You do have to suffer the gun bobble a little bit if you have that on a ridgeline, but to be honest, most of the time you do not even notice that you got the suspension because you are going far too quick for it to ever activate. But on the whole, yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. If this tank was to come up for sale again outside of the season pass in like a year's time and you're watching this review, would I say it's worth it? I would probably say not, because you're going to be going and buying something like the Declare Ares prototype, which is the piece sells, if that comes up. And there's quite a few other Era 3 premium heavies that just performs better than it generally. But on the whole, for 2k gold, it's an absolutely fabulous tank. I say I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it for an Era 3 tank, right? And it has surprised me. That's the best way of putting it, it's surprised me. But without further ado, let's get into the statistics of the old tank. So you've got 65.2 km/h top speed, with a 32.2 km/h reverse speed, with a 1200 horsepower engine, which gives you 23.48 horsepower per ton ratio, which is actually really good. But for some reason, it just feels a little bit sluggish getting up to its top speed, just a little bit, and I'm not sure what it is about it. But sometimes it does feel a little bit slow to get going. But on the whole, you do hit the top speed, and that reverse speed is absolutely fantastic. You've got 10% internal fire chance, which is on the low end of the fire chances, which is nice. Doesn't get set up fire that often, which is good. You've got 3,590 hit points, which is a totally random number. It couldn't have just been 3,600, right? But it's a good slab of hit points. It means you can trade quite effectively with that. You've got 46 degrees a second hull traverse speed, which is pretty quick. It turns on the sixpence very well. You've got 2 on soft terrain, 1.1 on medium, and 1 on firm, which means your ground resistances are pretty good, and actually don't hold it back in terms of that. You've got 437 metres of steel concealment, but you're a heavy tank, so who cares? Or an MBT anyway. You're an MBT, who cares about your camo? You've got 530 metres of view range, which is okay. You've got 40 degrees of turret traverse speed, which is slower than the tracks, so bear that in mind. You might want to run rapid aim and to just try and get that turret traverse up towards what the tracks are. You've got 0.64 accuracy during rotation, which is fantastic. You've got 19 degrees of gun depression. I think it's 9 degrees of gun depression without the siege mode, 19 with. I think that's how it goes. So when you see that you don't have 19, you've got to wait for the siege mode to activate for it then to be able to get the 19. But you got 9 without and 19 with. With 9 being still fantastic and great on a ridgeline, right? You've got 180 degrees of your limit, so you've got a fully traversable turret, essentially. You've got 1.04 accuracy during movement, which paired with that 0.64 accuracy during rotation is utterly fantastic. Means you do not run gun stabilizer on this tank. You do not need it, because the gun just doesn't bloom out. If you run all of the gun perks on the crew, yeah, that makes this gun absolutely fabulous. You've got a 6.6 second reload, which is 4.5k DPM, which is, yeah, like I say, pretty damn good. It fires very, very fast, which is very nice on the K1. You've got 0.2 base accuracy at 100 meters as well, which again is utterly fabulous. 1.7 second aim time, utterly fabulous. Just means that this gun handling is phenomenal. It really is. You've got APF SDS as standard, APF SDS as premium, and then HE. You've got 476 penetration on the standard APF SDS, which again is very, very low. That penetration standard is pretty painful sometimes. There's a lot of shots that you will bounce that you sit there going, oh, come on. You've got 577 millimeters of pen on the premium APF SDS, which is pretty decent. Again, it's enough to go through a lot of tanks you're going to face, but it still will struggle at times against certain tanks. And you've got 270 millimeters of HE pen, which is actually really good. If you get the rears of tanks and stuff like that, you will actually do damage quite quickly. But it's nice to have that for 1615 alpha to be able to splash stuff like Malo whenever they fix the armor bug that the Malo has at the minute. You've got 500 alpha on the standard AP as well. With 1493 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APF SDS, with 1505 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APF SDS. And in terms of your bonuses, you have 155% silver bonus, with 120% on the tank XP bonus, and 110 on commander XP, with a bit of free XP on there too. Let's have a quick look at the armor layout. Like I say, I'm going to just show you this. It's quite hard to quantify the effectiveness of armor on Era 3 tanks because of the amount of spaced armor, but having played it, the armor bounces a lot. It bounces a hell of a lot. Let's have a look at the modules as well for you, and you can see that's the ammo racks. They are tiny. They are tiny ammo racks. It doesn't seem to get ammo racked that often for me, which is quite nice. Your engine block is there, which does tend to get knocked out if you get shot in the back, so be very careful of that. Anything like an ATGM goes in there, any sort of higher damage round goes into the back of this tank. If something's caught you off guard, your engine is going to get damaged and knocked out, so be very, very careful. And that's the crew positions on the K1 as well. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, I'll move the crew out of the Cobra Cat, and it's a pretty standard crew that I've been running on my Era 3 MBTs pretty much, and that is Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, and Deadeye. So I run Deadeye for the memes. You could quite easily switch that out for Trap Mechanic. You could run Armor Angling, Controlled Impact for the ramming, because the tank is actually pretty good at ramming too, so you could definitely run that as well. If you wanted better view range, you could run Situational Awareness. I run it for the memes. I run it for the chance of damaging modules more and more, and the higher chance of setting people on fire means you can net yourself quite a lot of damage as well, which is handy. But again, that's more for the memes, which is why I run it. Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better, because like I say, the turret traverse is slower than the tracks, and because the tracks are going to get even quicker with stuff like clutch braking and the traction system, I want to make the turret traverse better. Clutch braking to again make it feel really nimble on its tracks, to be able to swivel on a sixpence. The 3 gun perks, because I'm not going to run the gun stabilizer, but I do want to make sure that this gun is as good as it humanly can be, so that I can make this gun fantastic, and then I don't have to worry about it, and it is an utterly phenomenal gun for that. And then these 3 perks you're going to run, well, these 4 you're going to run on every single tank in Cold War, pretty much. And then in terms of equipment, I do run food, because the boost that you get from food is fantastic. The advanced loader, the traction system, and I run vents. Why do I run vents? So I can make everything about the tank better, like the aim time, the accuracy, the DPM. To be honest, I'm just maximizing my DPM in this tank, because it's one of its key strengths is the fact that its DPM is phenomenal, right? So I'm trying to make it so it is firing rapidly. But you could quite easily swap out vents for the powertrain to make it go a bit quicker, and also to give it that little extra oomph in the engine. You could run the advanced armor in conjunction with armor angling if you were going to do that, to reduce the amount of damage coming in. You could also run the spore liner if you wanted to as well, if you wanted to build for the ram damage, right? It's totally up to you and how you want to set up the tank. I mean, you could even think about engine protection as well, because like I said, I've had the engine knocked out in this tank a lot by being shot in the back end, so be very careful of that. But I wouldn't recommend that personally. But yeah, it's how you want to run the tank and how you feel comfortable with it. Let's have a look at the statistics now with it fully kitted out. And as you can see, our top speed has got up to 71.72 kilometers an hour, with a 35.42 kilometer an hour top reverse speed, which is pretty nice. It does reverse very, very quickly, but it also goes forward pretty quickly. It's now got a 55.34 degree a second hull rotation speed, which is mad. It turns so quickly, which is great. You've got 586 meters of view range. Your turret rotation speed is now at 49.84 degrees a second, which is still slower than the tracks, but you can see we've kept it up with that track traverse increase. Your accuracy during rotation is at 0.53, because we've got that stuff like a snapshot, which is glorious. 4.69 second reload is absolutely rapid. We've got nearly 6.4k DPM. I mean, you do have to be able to have the ability to use it, because your penetration can let you down a lot. But if you get the ability to catch people off guard and track them especially, the DPM is insane. You can just perma-track people so easily. It is a glorious thing. You've got that 0.16 accuracy at 100 meters, which is phenomenal. You've got 0.79 accuracy during movement, which again is phenomenal paired with the accuracy during rotation. 1.53 second aim time is just utterly fantastic. The gun handling on this tank is truly phenomenal. It really, really is. But then a lot of tanks in Era 3 are like that in general. And then you got the DPM and the armor. As a complete mix, this tank is... I found it to be quite good. I found it to be quite good. I'd say it's one of those that has shocked me, because I did look at the stats and go, this tank's not going to be that great, is it? It's going to be like an M1, you know, the standard M1 Abrams, and I'm going to suffer. But no, actually, it's been pretty fun. And like I said, the armor holding up is a nice thing. It only really starts to struggle when you're facing stuff like, you know, the Mullos and 292s of this world, where they got 900 pen, right? But the armor holds up well. The gun handling is fantastic. The DPM shreds people in. That completely catches people out. And if you can just keep tracking, you can have a great time. But without further ado, what I'm going to do is send you over to the replays, where you can go watch this tank in action, see how it handles, and then make your own mind up on the tank and whether it's worth the 2k gold. Like I say, it's always worth buying the season pass, so you will get this tank if you do that. And yeah, so as always, everybody, I will see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the K1. And this first game, we are on Ruinberg. And on Ruinberg, what we're going to do is charge with the team to try and get ourselves into a lovely little brawl in the streets of Ruinberg. Because that can be, well, Ruinberg can lead to some good brawls. And when you're in an MBT like the K1, which has some pretty damn nice armour and a nice gun and good DPM, you can have some good fun. So we've come to this middle area on Ruinberg because I can get shots up the street. So we put a shot straight through the 292 into his rear, and he's turning around and realised what's happening, so we get another shot in. You can see with the pneumatic suspension that the aim circle is free of the camera, so you can see it wiggling about a little bit. That is something that does happen with the hydro pneumatic suspension tanks, is that their aim circle is wibbly wobbly, I should say. It's not fixed to where your camera's looking, right? But just because of how fast the turret turns and, you know, how good the gun handling is, you don't really notice it too much, or at least I don't anyway. But yeah, that's just something to watch out for in the K1. So you can see, we can see the little pesky weasels at the end of the road. It's like, hello, Mr. Weasels. I'm not going to let you shoot at my friends. That's not going to happen. I'm going to try and get some shots into you. But unfortunately for me, that weasel did a pesky maneuver, and that meant that we missed him. But my friend on my right is currently getting machine gunned by, I think it's a Mullo. So what we're going to do is poke around the corner and do our best to get rid of the 292 first, because he's got a nasty gun. Well, the weasel said bye. And there's the armor bug for the 4778. I say for the 4778, it's a problem for a lot of the tanks with ARA that are currently at the minute, at the time of recording this video, right? I mean, by the time it releases tomorrow morning, because obviously this is the evening before, by the time it releases on Wednesday morning, they could have fixed it by then, right? But at the minute, you can just shoot right through the upper plate of a Mullo, and a lot of the tanks that have ERA, like the T-72B used, or the T-72s generally, the Magax, you can just shoot straight through the upper plate and it'll go through because, or lower plate, sorry, just because the space armor doesn't really work. Same as on the turret as well. It's a bit awkward for them, but hopefully they'll fix it quickly, and then those tanks can return back to their full efficacy, right? Although, I kind of wish it would stay the same for the Mullo, but hey-ho. Anyway, besides the point, I digress. We're up to, wow, that's a satisfying number. 3. Oh. Ah, immersion ruined. Immersion ruined. 3,717 damage. There we go. We had to go and ruin it, but hey-ho. We get a shot through the drive wheel there of the Topol. Not Topol, it was a Leclerc. We get a shot through the back end of the Topol now. That is a Topol, but he's been charged by my friends, and we managed to secure the kill there on that guy. The Carver's poking around the corner, but I can't quite see him. So we're going to see if we can get any juicy shots into the Thumper, but we mistimed that shot quite badly as we hit the dead wreck. Now there's a Leclerc coming after us. It's like, hello, Mr. Leclerc. How is life? We track him in place, which actually pens him as well. Stops him dead in his tracks. Aim for his lower plate, straight through, and finish off that French MBT. And we're up to 3 kills with 6,089 damage. Looking for the shot into the 292, but sadly that shot goes into his turret, and because we've only got 476 penetration, we are not going to pen the front of a 292's turret. A lot of tanks in this era can pen the 292 in the turret front, but not the K1. It just doesn't have the penetration. And firing the premium at 477, we can go through it every now and then, but still, it's a bit iffy if it's actually going to do it. The penetration is a big letdown for this tank at times, and you can't sugarcoat it. It will struggle to pen quite a few shots, and you will find yourself bouncing some shots that you go, oh, come on, I can pen that in other tanks, right? Just because the standard and the premium pen is fairly low. So we're up to that 6.5k damage. We are looking for the last TD. It is a Weasel. There he is. Can we shut him down? Hello, Mr. Weasel. Free aim. Good night, sir. And we get that shot satisfyingly to finish off that little pesky Weasel there. And finish the game with the epic victory. The 4 kills, 6.7k damage, a bit of blocked in the 2075, the second class for 1519 base XP. Fairly average game there for the K1 on Ruinberg. And we're on to the second replay, and this second replay is on this map, which is Dukla Pass. And on Dukla Pass, we are going to do what Dukla Pass does, and that is go round like a donut, because that's exactly what Dukla Pass does every single time. We charge up the 1-2 line, and then go down the AB line, and they go down the 9-0, up the JK. That is just what happens on Dukla Pass, and it usually ends up in which team caps first. I was texting at this point. Kids, don't text and drive. Don't tank and text and tank. Yeah, that's what we're going for. Don't text and tank, because you drive up rocks, and it happens. So yeah, we're going to charge down the 1-2 line. They've got 2 tanks that have come this way to try and stop us, and this is our whole team. So what we're going to do is full Era 3 gameplay, and that is YOLO! We're just going to charge in on these guys and try and get some shots in. So we bounce on the K1 there. We take a shot from the K1, but we get a nice RBRT into the Charlie too. And we're going to go around like a donut once again and get back in on the K1 and the Charlie from this side because, well, we're just creating crossfires and distracting, right? And there goes the K1. And those 2 tanks, in the blink of an eye, went boop. Now, that was like 8k hit points that just vanished in the blink of an eye. And that's what happens when you basically don't follow your team in Era 3. It's one of those things, if you don't follow the wolf pack, you tend to die, which is a bit of a problem. So, those 2 are gone. Most of their team is on the opposite side of the map. So it's like, come on, guys, let's just charge to where we know the enemy team is. Let's not bother. Like, great driving. Let's not bother with going towards their cap. Let's not cap. Let's just charge their team. We know exactly where they are. Let's get them. And we found the M1A1. It's like, hello, Mr. M1A1. Let me DPM you, my son. We get a shot in to track him. If that's the one thing I can give you, the biggest piece of advice for this tank, track. Track like you're never tracked before. You want to track everything you can. Because number one, you'll perma-track it. Easily. Your DPM is phenomenal. You will perma-track it. Not many people run track mechanic in this era, so it just basically means once you've tracked them, you'll get tons of assistance, number one. And number two, you can track them and then put them in a place where you can then go and perma-track them, and it makes it easier for you to then have places to pen, because naturally, having low penetration, if you've managed to track someone, you'll be able to maneuver it to a position where you can track and pen them, and it'll make it easier for you to be able to go through them and get free damage, right, rather than just bouncing off their front all the time. So it's something that you want to aim to do all the time, is just track, because then you're boosting your assistance damage, but also making it easier for yourself in general to be able to get more shots in at people. So we get an RBRT there into the M1A2, which was never meant to track. I just got lucky. But we did get some more assistance on that. We're now going for the shot through the upper plate of the 6B Batash there. You saw the ERA problem there for the Batash. We just went straight through. Naturally, after the bugs finish, we're probably not going to pen that, but you know, we take what we can, We're up to 5,000 damage, 2,985 assistance. They've got 6 tanks left, we've got 9. It's still kind of an on knife's edge, but we are fully wolf-packing all together. We know exactly where they are yet again, and we are still catching some of them off guard one by one. There's a thumper in the area towards our cap, and there we go. We've missed a shot on the move. I said how good this gun is, but we did miss a shot there on the move, which I was like, oh, I was expecting that to hit, but it didn't. The Type 85 2M I thought was fully going to full send over that ridge, but he didn't go after us. And what we're trying to do is get to this ridge line as quickly as possible, because then we can use the great gun depression that this thing has with 19 degrees with the pneumatic suspension and start to go to town. Because the thing is also, this tank has great turret armor as well, so you will bounce a lot of shots off the turret. We've switched to premium rounds because we can't go through the lower plate of the 2A5 with standard, but with premium we can. So we want to be firing that premium round for this guy's lower plate. He manages to get a pan and track in, but we are starting to absolutely slaughter this guy with our DPM, because he doesn't have very good DPM, but we have phenomenal DPM. And good night, Mr. 2A5. We've now got a shot into the side of the 2A4, which again we aim for the drive wheel to keep him pinned, because you never know, we might get a bit of assistance from it, but we didn't. And we finished the game again with a fairly average game there for the K1, a pretty nice total combined as well, because we managed to get a bit of tracking. We finished with the victory, 2 kills, 7.5k damage, that 2.9k assistance because of tracking, 4.6k blocked by the way, and 1597 base XP. Pretty nice game there for the K1. Like you're seeing again, it blocks quite a lot of damage. You will be surprised at how much it actually blocks. It really does block quite a lot. And then as well, it just farms for days. And we're on to the third replay. In the third replay, we're here on this map, which is Vineyards. And I'm going to go towards the JK line, but then I see what our team's doing. And our team is actually going towards the AB line. I'm thinking, you know what? I want to support the guys going to the AB line, because I didn't want to end up with that stupid camp that tends to happen on this map in era, well, in any of the eras, to be fair, where everyone just goes and sits on that hill at JK. So we're going to go support this flank, and that's why we did a full U-turn. If you get the support, if you get the numbers, it can be well worth going this way, because you have enough bodies to take hits, you have enough bodies that are going to keep firing, but also you've got support from the people at JK that can actually farm this way too, which is nice. So we managed to hit 2 shots on the move there, which again shows how good this gun handling is, and we managed to track this Marder A3. Thankfully his ATGM fires, and our misses, I should say, he fired his ATGM and missed us. There we go, English is hard. And we're just trying to find another shot into the other A3, but we can't quite make it. Then we notice the AMX-32 just YOLOing into the distance. It's like, let's go for the tracking shot. It flies true and tracks him. Once again, trying to get it, but I just end up stopping leading there, which meant we only penned the MX-32. Now the Marder 1A3 is again doing it where he drives straight out. We managed to get the tracking shot in, which is great. Or actually, we didn't get the tracking shot there. Someone else did. But we did get penetration into him. We've now noticed that the M1A2 has come round behind us. And Mr. M1A2, it's going to be curtains for you, my son, because we've got enough people here to try and back us up. And again, the people at JK 8-9 can shoot these people, so they should also be farming up. So this M1A2 is tracked, and it's like, well, we've realised, okay, he's tracked, I need to keep him tracked, but we actually kill him there, which is quite good. Going for the tracking shot again, get it into the tow pole, puts him in one place where I can keep him pinned, which makes him easy to pen as well for me. Straight through the drive wheel, shuts him down. Now the Thumper's coming in. Mr. Thumper, you're staying in place. We do actually track the Thumper, but he pops smoke, which means that he managed to repair and get back. This is where the suspension is great for the K1, because our 19 degrees of gun depression just mean we can keep farming. You do have a bit of a gun bobble though, you got to be careful of, but it just, you can just it just keeps rolling. The damage keeps going for this tank. So we're just going for the shots into the drive wheel of the Thumper. We finally get that drive wheel shot in. Glorious times. And then we get rid of that Thumper. I say aim for the tracks. If you can track people, track them, because the DPM is going to go mad for you, and also you'll keep them perma-tracked, and you can keep them in positions where you can actually pen them a lot easier and a lot more. So we've been doing that to the Leclerc, but he finally burns his repair kit. We've now noticed that the 2 heavy tanks are coming around behind us. We're trying to get an RBRT into the McCarver, but we bounce on his side. Just going to swivel past him, RBRT straight into the McCarver Mark 1, get rid of him. We've now got the 2A4, which we're going for that drive wheel yet again, but sadly that one bounces. Okay, sure, we're taking ATGM from the light tank, and I'm thinking at this point, oh no. We missed a shot on the A3, sorry. Oh no, it's a Bradley, sorry, an M3A2. You don't see those very often these days. And we managed to actually get a shot into him before he gets shut down. We go for the lower plate shot on the 2B, but that one flew straight underneath, and that's because that was a gun bobble moment where, because we moved backwards, the suspension rocked us forward when the gun actually dropped down because it's not fixed to the aim circle, but hey well. The Leclerc comes ramming us over, and he's actually firing HE, which is why we are still alive. We try and go for the shot into his lower plate, but that was just genuinely dreadful, so we didn't actually get any more shots into him. We try and snap a shot into the MBT-80, but it doesn't go in. We've got a shot into his turret, but I think, okay, I'm going to wait for his left side, and sadly the shot went extremely low and did track damage only. But in the chaoticness that was that game, we finished with the epic victory, 4 kills, 10,533 damage, 4.3k assistance, the first class, the high caliber, with 1,835 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the K1 on Vineyards. That was chaotic, and it showed just how good the DPM and how nice it can be in that regard for that sort of situation. But naturally, you did also see where the penetration lets us down a little bit. With some of the shots we were bouncing on stuff like the McCarvers, it was like, oh, come on, gun, just pen that, right? Which can be a bit of a pain. But you can just keep the damage flowing, and once again, we just kept bouncing stuff as well. The Armour really held up in that last game quite well until that last sort of little bit of a melee, but that's because there was about 5 tanks on us all in one go, right? And we're on to the 4th replay. There's only 1 replay left after this one, and we're on the 4th one, and this is Kasserine. On Kasserine, I've come to this little position here on this rock, and what I'm trying to do is see if there's anyone crossing down the JK line, seeing if I can get some free shots at people. That would be great. We end up finding the Marder 1A3, which we put a shot straight through. I was hoping maybe track it, but it doesn't happen. The other Marder gets spotted. I'm like, oh, nice, we put a shot into him there. He's stopping to machine gunners. I've aimed for where his drive wheel is, which seems to have gone straight in. He's still stopped still. There we go, we've knocked his tracks off. He's fired the ATGM. We know we can pull back in time to get away from it because of how far away he's firing from. He's missed. We put another shot in blind because all we did was rock backwards and forwards, so we were still aimed in where he was. And then that shell unfortunately misses because we don't quite know where that Marder 1A3 has gone because he popped smoke. And yeah, he's gone. He gone. We're up to 2.8k damage. And it's like, hello, Mr. Weasel, I see you. We get a shot into the back of the Weasel there, hoping to get rid of it, because it's always great to get rid of the Weasel, right? Watching him go, it's like, hello, Mr. Weasel, nice jump, sir, good night, sweet prince, good night. So we got rid of the Weasel. Now we've got a 292 at the distance. We actually bounced the 292 off of our turret, which is great. We're going to try and get the tracking shot in, which we get straight in. And he's now tracked, giving us assistance. We get another shot in that keeps him tracked. He's managed to pen us, though, which is a sad time. And he's realised, oh god, this guy's perma-tracking me. So he burnt his repair kit and got out. I was going to sit here and start farming the Leopard, but I realised, oh, we're in a position where maybe he can shoot us. But also, if that 292 decided, he would actually try and get a shot into us there. And that shot and that thumper, gun handling. Like, wowzers, that flew straight into the side of that guy with a snap. And that's just what this gun does. Snap, crackle, pop. It hits where it wants to a lot of the time. So we're going to come up with this thump, the old git. You were going to come help the old git take on some tanks, right? So we are going to come after the guys over here. We're seeing if we can get a shot at the thumper. Can't quite do it. And I was like, right, okay, well, we want to get rid of the other thumper and the Leopard that were over here. The thumper's YOLOing around our thumper. And we're trying our best to get a shot in. I was hoping, yet again, to track the thumper if I could. But we didn't quite manage it. But someone else did. And we managed to actually high roll to kill that guy. Now the 477A, the Malo, is running through. We lead that a bit poorly. And it unfortunately misses. The Weasel's coming after us. It's like, hello, sir. Have you heard about the new RAM physics? As he rams himself to death on us for 900. Thank you, Mr. Weasel. Glorious times. New RAM physics mean that I can kill you easier. I mean, if we're honest, before that RAM update, that Weasel probably would have done that in the last patch and probably done like 200 damage because it's like a beach ball. But thankfully, now the RAM physics are like that, Weasels can't do stupid things like that, and they will actually suffer punishment just like it should have always been, to be able to lose all the hit points. So we're going after this TD, and I haven't realised that Charlie was coming behind us. I'm like, oh, goodness gracious me, there's a tank behind us. Hello, Mr. Challenger 2. We've only got premium left, which means we're going to find it a little bit easier to go through this guy. Once again, going for that tracking shot, but it doesn't quite come off. I'm just trying to glue myself to his back end so it's easier, because I don't want him to get his front to me, because naturally that's going to make it a pain. And we're just keeping the auto-aim going. I'm thinking, how much can I ram this guy for? Well, not a lot, apparently. We don't ram him for very much. He takes a lot of our hit points with the ram, and there's only one tank left on the enemy team, and it's a Weasel. Where is this guy? Well, he could be absolutely anywhere, which means we're on it for a chase. But there he goes. He gets spotted. He's actually really close, which is great, and manages to get himself spotted because he fired. So we're just going to use the mobility of this tank, the 71 kilometers an hour, to go chase. There he is. He's been chased by our Weasel, and we're just going to try and see if we can get there to get a shot into him. Would be a great time. He's coming over. Can we get the free aim shot in? Yes, we can. He doesn't penetrate us with his ATGM, and while he's chasing there, nice driving, sir. Very good. He did not mean to kill himself whatsoever there. That was just physics going, now you flip, in midair. And we finished the game with the 4 kills, 12,318 damage, the 504 assistance, the first class, the sniper, the high caliber, the Confederate medal, with the 1,769 base XP. Pretty decent game there for the K1 on that map, which was Kasserine. Again, showed when you put it in a position to let this DPM roar, oh boy, it roars. And we're on to the 5th and final replay of this video. And we're on this map again. It's Ruinberg. And yeah, this game goes a little bit mental, because we're going to get stuck into a brawl yet again on Ruinberg. It's what Ruinberg's good for. So what we're going to do is charge into the town and see what we can get up to with this gun. And once again, you've already seen it. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go to the middle. If there's anything in the middle that we can shoot, we'll do that. And then we can progress to fighting the people along the DE12 position. So there's nothing in the middle. There is just nothing spotted already. So what we're going to do is push very aggressively, try and get an RBRT into the Leclerc. Sadly, didn't go anywhere near. We now know there's a Magak 7C over there, so we try and get a shot into the 7C. And it doesn't go anywhere near, and we bounce off his upper plate. Now there's a Type 88A, so we get a shot into his drive wheel yet again. Tracks. I'm not kidding. Go for tracks if you can get them, because that's where you start to farm. So we're looking for another shot into the upper plate of the Magak 7C. I don't know why I'm taking those shots, because realistically that's not going to pen a Magak. So yeah, the silly shots really, and with the amount of ammo we have, it's a bit wasteful, because you will, in quite long games, run out of ammo in this vehicle if you're not careful. So we get a shot through the Type 88A there. We've got the drive wheel of this Magak, which I snapped away from for some reason, but thankfully, because we pulled the trigger a little bit too quick, we still hit it anyway, because the gun hadn't moved away yet. But yeah, my bad on that one. The Type 88A drives back out in front of us. I'm not sure what this guy's trying to achieve, because we retrack him in place, and it's like, sir, I'm sorry, Type 88, that's your death. And we get rid of that guy. I've not realised yet, and now you see it, I go, oh no! I've got Magak in front and a lot of tanks behind me. Okie dokies. Nope. He tracks me, that Magak, and I'm like, oh no, burn the repair kit, get out, we're out, run, Forest, run. And thankfully, we don't take any more damage trying to escape that melee of tanks behind us. Probably very fortunate there, if we're honest, that we didn't lose any hit points. I realised a little bit too late what was going off, but thankfully we did actually get out. So what we're going to do now is push into a position to try and get shots into their rear, because again, I want to create a crossfire if I can. We've caught out the Type 59D, we get a shot into his tracks, and oh no, for this Type 59, if he doesn't repair it, he's going to get farmed. And that is what we are doing. We're just keeping this guy permatracked, and this is why I say just go for the tracks. Go for the tracks, because you can just do that, and it made it easy. We do have to move, though, because those heavy tanks are coming behind us. Now, I'm keeping my eye on it now, that, you know, the tanks are manoeuvring behind us. So we've managed to get back out the alley, got rid of the tanks in front, and now we're facing the guys behind. We bounce off the side of the 2B there, which, yeah, pain. We managed to track that guy? No? Yes? I'm not quite sure. It didn't say if we did. But we do manage to track the Leclerc, though, which is great. And once again, if you can track, great, because we can just keep this guy pinned. He's realised, okay, I'm perma-tracked and he's repaired. Once again, going for that drive wheel, but the Magak 7C drives out in front of us. And I'm just keeping my eye on the map to see what my team are doing. So I've realised that their team are starting to push quite aggressively down the middle. So I want to help the other K1 that's here, and again, manoeuvre the position so that I can help have friends, essentially. So we managed to get rid of the T-72BM with him, and then we've turned around to now deal with the tanks that are coming forwards. And this is where the penetration sucks a little bit, because we really do struggle to go through the Macabre. We ricochet again off his lower plate, and that's where a lot of the other tanks in Era 3 just won't struggle, essentially. We just about get missed with that ATGM, and he does actually hit the friendly K1. It's actually Igno. GG, mate, for this, by the way. And we are just farming. We're farming. Tracks, yet again, we've tracked the Magak 7C, which means he's in a position that I can just keep shooting him. Same as the other K1. And Igno actually does shut him down. Get a shot into the Leclerc there. Now we've got the 7C directly in front of us. There's a bad miss, really, and especially with the amount of ammo I've got left, I've got to be careful. We go for the lower plate of the Macarthur again there, but we just don't have the penetration. The penetration just let us down again on that Macarthur, and it didn't go through. Now we've got the MX-40. That one somehow doesn't go in, or doesn't hit the tank. It flew over him. Come on, gun handling. So we're going to go after this AMX-40. Now, this is possibly where we make a bit of a mistake, because this is where their team starts to stick together and our team starts to separate, which in Era 3 is deadly. It's 4-on-4. So me and Igno are like, okay, let's go after this AMX-40. I'm kind of hoping that the other heavy tank will join us. We know where two of them are. They are at G4, but we want to see if we can just catch up to this AMX, get up behind them, and farm away. We're just going to keep charging. We're already at 11,498. We've blocked 6.6k. We're at 1,683. I've got to be careful because I've only got 4 rounds of AP FSDS left and 5 HE rounds, which means realistically, I'm not going to be able to do too much more damage. So we know where 3 of them are now. They're all chasing towards our cap, and this is where the mistake's been made because they're going to now outnumber the 2 in the cap, and they've shut down the Macarthur. And out of the blue, completely shocked to me, was there's a 292. It's like, oh no, that's a 292. That doesn't track and pen. Okay, sure. But we're just going to keep trying to put more shots into this 292, try and make him more of a one-shot for my K1 friend in Igno. And sadly, the 292 does end up shutting us down. And that was the end of our game, which is a sad time because we should have just stuck with our team and then we managed to actually have a 4-on-4 brawl. We finished the game with 3 kills, the 12.2k damage, the ace tanker, the Confederate, with the 1151 base XP on a loss, with 2.2k assist as well. And GG to Igno with his 16k as well, with 4,488 assistance. He had a cracker as well in that game as well. But yeah, that's the K1, everybody. It's a pretty damn solid tank. I say, to be honest, for what it was, I thought it was going to be way worse, but actually it's been quite fun to play. It's been very solid. It stands up for itself quite well. It's realistically the penetration that lets it down quite seriously. But apart from that, it's pretty solid for 2k gold. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.